Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Nikhil Kumar. In our last video, we have explored how setting up CPU, memory and the GPU limits helps us manage individual pods. But what happens when multiple teams share the same namespace? That's where resource quota comes in. So how resource quota work? Resource quota are defined per namespace. They can limit total CPU, memory, GPU, pod, PVCs and even secrets. Kubernetes block any new pod that would exceed the quota. Now let's see this in the action. So this is my Kubernetes cluster. So first of all, let me create one namespace, that is kubectl create ns dev. So namespace got created. Now we are going to set a resource quota on this particular dev namespace. For that, I am going to create a manifest file, resource-quota.yml. Similar to the pod definition, the same spec will be used here. First of all, we need to specify the API version, that is v1. Then we need to specify the kind, that is resource quota. Then we need to specify the metadata, and I am going to specify the name here, that is team A quota, and I am specifying the namespace, it's for dev namespace. Then we need to specify the spec. So here we need to specify the keyword called hard, and inside this we are specifying the request and limit both. Requests.cpu, that is 2, requests dot memory, that is 2 GB, and limits for the CPU, that is 4, and limits for memory, that is 4 GB. We can also set the request and limit for the GPU, but for now I am not going to use this. And we are specifying the pod, that is 10. So here what we are doing, we are setting up a total quota for this namespace. So we can request 2 CPU, 2 GB memory, and we have a limit that is 4 CPU and the 4 GB memory, and we can create 10 pods, and these limit and request are applicable to all the pods under the dev namespace. Let's create a resource quota, kubectl create -f resource quota.yml. Now the resource quota got created. Let's see the quota. It's under dev namespace. We can see we have a quota that is a team A quota, and it has a request that is pod. We can create 10. CPU is 2 and the memory is 2 GB. Similar to request, we have a limit which we have specified in the manifest file. Now let's try creating a pod that exceeds this limit and see what happens. So let me update the pod definition file which we have used in our last video. So in this particular manifest file, I am going to exceed the limit of memory and CPU both. Earlier we have used 64 MI. Now I am going to use a 3 GB. And similar to this, we are going to request 3 CPUs, and limit is also same. Let's apply these changes. Pod got created. Let's verify the same. Let's describe the, actually we have created under the default namespace, but the quota we have created under the dev namespace. So let me create a pod under the dev namespace. So -n dev. As we can see, the pod creation got failed because we have a resource quota applicable in this. The resource quota says we can request up to 2 CPU, but here we are requesting 3 CPU. And memory we can specify up to 2 GB, but here we are specifying 3 GB. That's how Kubernetes is protecting your cluster. Now let's talk about best practices as well. So how do you use resource quota effectively? Set resource quota per team or the namespace level, just like we did for the dev namespace particularly. As we can see, initially we created a pod at the default namespace. It worked fine, but as soon as I specified the namespace, it got failed. Try to combine it with the limit ranges for the per pod defaults. In our next video, we are going to cover the limit ranges. So we will see how we can combine it with the resource quota and the limit ranges. At last, try to monitor quotas using the kubectl described quota command. Just like we did as well in our demo, we described the quota and we can see how many requests and the CPU and the memory we can do for this particular namespace. This keeps your cluster fair and balanced. Whether it's developer, data scientist or a CA jobs, everyone gets a fair slice. And that's all for today. If you found this helpful, hit the like button, share it with your friends and subscribe for more content like this. Also, don't forget to check out my previous videos on pod, replica set and deployment. I will add a link in the description below.